All right, we are live. So, another week of the Real Operators webinar. To you guys that always tune in, thank you very much for the continued support. We appreciate it. We do this thing asking for nothing in return but for help growing our brand. Having said that, guys, let's make sure you like, subscribe to our channel, share this with a friend. You get,
We
we're getting feedback. Let me fix the feedback.
That's because you got to buy a nicer microphone. That's what happens.
Yeah, there you go. All right, perfect.
We're waiting for the feedback to be fixed. We do have our sponsor today, which is Celsius, brought to you by the lovely sugar-free, carb-free energy drink that just keeps you going. You fixed it? You got it?
No, here we go.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, I think so. There we go. We're good. No feedback now. Okay, guys. Yeah. Thank you for joining. We are not technologically savvy people in the world, but it's good quality stuff. So, do you hear that echo, Will?
Yeah, it doesn't sound good on your end. Sounds like you're far. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. How about now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can't see you.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, we're having technical difficulties.
All right. Is this better?
Yeah, it's a lot better. Clearly, Henry flips houses, but he can't work technology. That's what happens. Anyway.
Dude, we're still getting that feedback. I don't understand.
I don't hear feedback on my end for you.
No? You don't hear any echo? All right. Awesome. So let's keep going.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Will, one thing that I want to talk about, I got a couple probate deals going on. And by the way, the comment chat is open. Drop comments. Any questions you guys have, please, by all means. That's what we're here for. We're here to answer them. So thank you guys for logging on once again. I have a couple probate deals that are basically falling apart. So, Will, let's talk about your most complicated deal, how you saved it, and for people on here that are struggling with the deal, the right resources, give us a recommendation.
So the question was my most complicated deal and how I saved it.
Yeah, and what's a recommendation to avoid what's happening with me that I have a probate that's been going on for 3 years, guys?
Yeah. I'll start with the first one. I once had a deal years ago where I had 32 heirs that we had to round up and get 32 quitclaim deeds. That's true story. Gus can confirm that, my attorney. That was a shit show, to say the least. But we got it done. So that was a flip in West Park, and it was a pretty good deal. It was like $50K. So that's that. As far as how to avoid these issues, so I'm just gonna say to anyone on this call, first of all, we are here. We have resources. Him and I. A lot of other people on this webinar have resources as well. So the best thing that you can do is, the better your network, the more resources you have or should have in it. So, Henry came to me a few days ago with these issues, and I immediately said, listen, I've done a ton of probates in my career. I'm sure there's great attorneys out there that do probates all the time and this and that. It's honestly been my experience that the majority of probate attorneys have no idea what they're doing. Believe it or not, just because you went to school, you graduated, you passed the bar, does not make you a probate expert. And probates, let's talk about probates for a second. So there's really two types of probates. There's a formal probate, and then there's a summary probate. So in short, the formal means that someone has been deceased for less than 2 years. So it's a longer process. It has a 90-day creditor period. and it has a lot of other nuances, it always takes more time. By the way, fun fact, Broward County is by far the best county to ever have a probate in. They're fast, they got their shit together, and they fly. Okay, Miami-Dade County sucks. No surprise there. A summary probate is much faster. The person on title, the decedent, has been dead for more than 2 years. There is no creditor period. Therefore, the fastest I've ever gotten a summary probate done, I think, was in 10 days in Broward County. So
that's what I have going right now that I'm working with your attorney. It's a summary. So he says he's confident he can do it in 2 to 3 weeks.
And when he says 2 to 3 weeks, he's not bullshitting. He actually means it, and he can actually get it done. So yeah,
these complicated deals. I like what you said first, which is like use the resources that are available to you guys. Which, for example, us, right? You need a probate attorney, we'll recommend you one. And another thing that's very important is don't be afraid to reach out. So I had a deal the other day that I was struggling with, and dude, I'd been struggling with this deal for like 3 weeks. And eventually I give up. I'm like, I don't know. I think I was hanging out with Will, and he's like, dude, what deal are you freaking out? What are you freaking out about? So I show him the deal, and he's like, why didn't you reach out to me 3 weeks ago? We would have had this thing closed. Will and I speak every day, and I don't know. I just blocked myself. Hey, let me reach out to Will. So that's a huge thing. Don't be scared to reach out to your contacts and use the people that you gain proximity with to your advantage, guys.
So I have a bunch of students that I work with consistently, and people that are in my sphere of influence. That's one of the things that comes with a mentor or comes with a person that you're working with. You not only get their experience and what they're good at, and the actual like details on how to do the deal and all those nuances and stuff, but you buy into their resources, you buy into their experience, you leverage what they have. So anyone who works with me is going to have, in my opinion, the best probate attorney, the best title company, the most creative. I very, very rarely have ever had a deal where it's fallen on the table and it's like, guys, sorry, Will, we don't know what to do with this. There's nothing you can do. In 6 years, that's really never happened to me. Unless it's gone to auction or something that literally is a non-negotiable, it's too late, whatever. That's a different story. But in terms of creativeness, it's unbelievable. So how can I structure this deal to purchase as a sub-2 with the seller finance and sell on a wrap?
So I'm going to give you the numbers. These are the numbers. Mortgage is 275 on a 325 interest. Seller is asking 535, is open to seller finance. What's the deal worth? And is it rented or will it be vacant at closing?
So just to understand, just to make sure I'm understanding this correctly. So there's a mortgage right now of 279, 3.25%. Seller is asking for 535 and is open to seller finance. So what you're saying is how can you keep their mortgage of 279 and wrap it to a new buyer? I just want to confirm that that's what he's asking.
I believe so. He says the ARV is 500K. It's vacant. And he wants us to show him how to structure the deal. So, okay, ARV 500K, vacant, mortgage 275, 325. Seller's asking for 535, open to seller finance.
Yeah, so pretty simple. If the seller
is, assumption is correct, Will.
Yes. If you're, can you hear me correctly? You hear me good?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like there's like a delay. So you can sell it above. So you can sell it at 535. You find a buyer at 535. They're probably going to be willing to overpay because you're going to finance them. You take a down payment. You can structure that however you want, as little or as much as you want. Obviously, the more the better. And you use that down payment for the seller, what they're going to want to walk away with, because they're going to leave their mortgage in place. So you use some of that. Let's say you get $100K down payment, for example. You get a $100,000 down payment. Seller only needs $40K to keep the mortgage in place and go away. Cool.
So you use the 40 to give to the seller. The 60 is for you. You keep their payment. You finance. You wrap the mortgage. You finance the new buyer. Let's say, I don't know, the monthly payment is $2,300. You finance them at $3,300. You make the spread. End of story. You keep making the payments. That's it.
Very important. Make sure you have a good servicing company to reach out. That's going to give a lot of confidence to the seller and the buyer that everything is going through one servicing company, and it's not, oh, I'm taking your word that you're paying the mortgage. Oh, I'm taking your word that you're giving me the money and all that. So you always want to have a servicing company in the middle. I personally don't have one that I could recommend. Will might.
Yeah, I have a few. I mean, look, my attorney's great at doing wraps and seller finance and all that. What type of contract are you using on these?
Your attorney.
So my attorney will draft the document. It's usually you leave a deed in escrow. You have some sort of an agreement with the seller, and you're subject to the property. So there's really not a contract, like an actual like a template for it, but Gus can structure this as best as possible, and to mitigate your liability and all that stuff. Just be very, very clear. When you take an owner finance deal like that and you're wrapping their mortgage, to be very clear, so it's like a responsibility, right? You are not on the hook for the seller's financing, nor is the new buyer. So it's your responsibility, ethically, to make sure that you're making those payments and that you don't miss one, et cetera, because the original seller is trusting in you to do that. And legally speaking, you're not on the hook for that. So, there's a bunch of little nuances there. So just make sure that you can float it, make sure that you can cover the payment, et cetera. And, based on the numbers that you're telling me, I mean, it should be an easy sell, because if you have a mortgage at 3.25% and mortgage rates right now are close to 6%, I mean, you have a 275 basis point spread there. So you can actually offer a lower percentage to the new buyer, and you could probably finance them at 5%, which would be highly enticing. That's how you can make the extra $35K above the ARV.
Yeah, when you have a deal like this where you could come up with a good down payment just because the seller has a lot of equity, it's easy to get the seller on board because you're going to give them a big down. If you disappear out of nowhere, that's a best case scenario for the seller because they just take the property back, So it's an easier sell for the seller in that case versus I'm trying to structure a subject to right now where I'm only coming out of pocket 10 grand. So that is a stickier situation for the seller because if I just disappear, the seller only kept 10 grand. It's not that big a deal. I mean, it's a great property, but she doesn't have a lot of equity, so I can't give her a big down payment,
Correct.
But yeah, this sounds like the numbers would definitely work.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And then when you're trying to sell this thing, reach out to mortgage brokers that do non-QM loans.
Mm-hmm.
Those mortgage brokers have people that they can't qualify. Offer them a commission and tell all these mortgage brokers, hey, you weren't able to qualify. Do you have any clients that you weren't able to qualify? Bring them to me. Another thing that I would do is reach out to realtors in that area. I would call, every realtor that has sold a property within the last 6 months in that area and be like, hey, do you have buyers? I have this type of deal. I'm selling it on a wrap. If you have a buyer looking for a rental but could potentially buy, that's how I would go about.
This is also a great way to become a landlord, depending on how well you can structure it and keep it as a rental. So you don't necessarily need to finance it. So if you had the funds, you could negotiate down the seller as much as possible, give them, let's say 20, 30K, keep their mortgage, go rent it out to somebody else. And now you have a renter, you have a rental without, really coming out of pocket. Anything else I can do with this deal? I mean, if the ARV really is 500 and they want 535, terms is probably going to be the best things. You can't really novate it because you're not going to be able.
They won't walk away with the 500. No way.
Correct. The biggest kicker here is going to be what specifically does the seller want or need to walk away or keep the financing in play? Because the seller is being unrealistic on price, so they have to be super realistic on terms.
Mm-hmm.
The
The
price
good thing is
difference.
that their mortgage must be very low, so I think you could get a really good spread on that. If they're only 279 out of 3.25, I'm sure you could cash flow that mortgage pretty well.
All
It
day.
might be better for you to if they want a low down payment, I would heavily consider keeping this as a rental for myself instead of
Agreed.
selling it on a wrap.
Agreed. I
So
agree.
think of that. The deal that I'm structuring in Homestead, I want to keep it for myself, and I'm paying retail for it. But she's willing to keep her mortgage in place. It's going to cash flow me a couple $100, which I mean, the couple $100 aren't going to change my life. But 10 years down the line, when I have 150 grand in equity, I'm going to be very happy I did the deal.
Correct, and that's also a great way. Throughout the years, I've kept a lot of deals that way, and I became a landlord that way. Without it, I wouldn't have been able to afford to be a landlord at the time. So this is a great way to become a landlord. I have a feeling you're probably going to see a lot more of this come up, based on mortgage rates and all that. Anyone who got a mortgage within the last 2 to 3 years, dude, free money. So their rates are so low that if they default, my first inclination would be, damn, I want to keep this, because you're not going to see those rates for quite some time.
Yeah, and I mean, people talk about, a wave of foreclosures and short sales are coming back. Man, I don't see it happening just because people got such good debt and there was so much equity created in the past 2 to 3 years that I think the opportunity for us is not necessarily going after foreclosures and short sales, because we don't have people that are upside down like we did back in 2008. So learning this creative play is well more worth it than pursuing or counting on a wave of foreclosure coming, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic to anytime you can pick. Look, you should be pitching to a seller multiple options. Okay, you should be, it's an LOI, a letter of intent. You should be presenting, hey, a cash offer, and then terms, and then creative, et cetera, et cetera. Novations. I mean, you should be presenting it all. And the way that you present it is, hey, you qualify. That's the way that I present it. You qualify for this one, but we have other options. And if a seller tells me, oh no, I would never accept that cash offer, got it, understood. However, you do qualify for this one. It's kind of like what car dealerships do, where they're like, yeah, I know this is too expensive, but you do qualify for this Camry. It's kind of same thing. Where can I get a good deal analyzer spreadsheet? I have one, Evo. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, and I will send it to you.
Drop your email, please, on the comments, or send, if you don't want to put it on the comments, DM us on Instagram, and we'll make sure that we send you that deal analyzer spreadsheet. If you don't follow us on Instagram, at Willie Numbers, at Henry Lee 2, the number 2.
Evo, I will not send it to you if you don't follow us on Instagram. No, I'm just kidding. But it's a perk. It's a perk.
Yeah. So reach out on Instagram if you want, and we'll make sure we get that over to you.
Perfect.
Speaking of Instagram, share this, guys. We want as many people as we can on these lives so we can get great questions like these and keep the conversation going.
Yes, I agree. I love the conversations. What else do we have?
Kadir with another question.
Kadir, my man. This guy's, it's a gift that keeps talking. What would you consider as a good property to hold, and what are things you look for? Cash on cash, cap rate. Okay, Kadir, a couple things here. Are you talking about single families? I assume that you are. If you're looking at single families, grab a cap rate, throw it away. Cap rates don't work on single families. I don't. I think it's ridiculous when, and I'm not saying you're doing it, but when people present me with deals and they're like, "Oh man, this is an 8 cap," I'm like, "Dude, it's a single family home. This is not a multifamily." So cap rates are more for commercial. Cash on cash, yes. I look for more. What is my liquidity at the current time? And what are the terms that I can get on this deal at this current moment? So if the terms are very exciting to me and I only have to come out of pocket $10K and I can structure something creatively and my $10K is going to generate me $300, $400, $500 a month, it's a great deal. I'm not going to complain about it. Now, if I have to come out of pocket $100K and I got to do this and I got to do that, I got to jump through all these hula hoops, I'm not really sure that that's a good deal for me, because I'm always, I have so many opportunities every day that I'm looking for, minimal effort, maximum return. That's really what I'm looking for in a rental. I'm also looking for area specific. Where am I going to be? I do not want to own in the boonies or in the hood. It's just not my thing. I've owned property in Opelika, Little River, Alapata, Brownsville, the hood in Hollywood. Honestly, it's not my job.
The quality of the tenant is
Yes.
something you want to consider.
I've never wanted to be a slumlord. You
Yeah.
know, I don't mind Section 8 tenants, but at this point in my career, I will pay a little bit more of a premium, or I'm more flexible if I'm in a better area. Like, for example, if I could keep something in Miami Lakes, I'm much more inclined to do that than Liberty City.
Yeah. Or an area that you know has a lot of appreciation opportunity. For example, some areas in Miami Gardens are still not the best, but if you look at what Miami Gardens has been doing in the past 5 years, holy shit, if I could pick up anything in Miami Gardens and keep it, I'm doing it, you know? Yeah, cap rate, nothing. But cash on cash, I'll give you an example. I just bought a deal last year in Tampa. My cap rate looks terrible. But if you look at the cash on cash, I got paid $3,000 to get the deal because I assigned it to myself and I got debt on it for 30 years, whatever.
And just to be clear, sorry, Henry, but just for anybody else on this call, a cap rate and what it is that all cap rates are an assumption on an all cash purchase. So a cap rate is a formula based on you not having leverage. So that's why I don't like cap rates, because I'm never going to buy anything all cash because it's just not a good investment. Unless I absolutely had to for some tax reason or something like that. But cap rates are always based on an all cash purchase. They do not include leverage. So cash on cash does include leverage. So I'd much rather that.
Yeah, absolutely. Cap rates only work in large multifamily because that's how you analyze deals, man. And you're not going to get a broker to pick it up if it's a bad cap rate. So forget cap rate, cash on cash. And you always want to get into deals with as little cash as possible because everyone on this call is an active investor, right? Or we want to be active investors. We should be active investors. One thing that you have to take into account is the opportunity cost of leaving the money buried into the deal. So that's why you want to have a very high cash on cash return for you to leave money parked there on a long-term 30-year debt.
Another thing that I'm also looking at is what can I do with the deal? Can I do a cash out refi and get my money out? So for anybody on this call, if you have a lot of spread on a deal, or if you have 200 grand worth of equity, let's say, I can do a cash out refi, and cash out refis are tax free, not tax deferred. So that's a biggie for me. If I could take out 50 grand instead of wholesaling for 150 grand, but my 50 grand is tax free, I'm going to go with the tax free any day of the week.
Absolutely.
Advice for easily getting registered for A2P 10 DLC for these texting platforms. Tried signing up for Smarter Contact and it was a mission. Marcelo, all these texting platforms are getting very strict because of the carriers. Launch Control is doing it as well. This is my best advice to you. This is how I have everything set up for my marketing. I learned this the hard way. Ask me how I know. I've been sued enough times over this shit. So I used to have, if you have one entity, one property, or excuse me, one company that does the wholesale, like ABC 123 LLC. That's the company that you wholesale with and everything. That's also the company that you have marketing with and all that stuff. That's a problem. And I'll tell you why. You should incorporate another entity that is a shell company, which literally signs up for all marketing and sells leads to your wholesale company. Therefore, if you get sued, or if there's a do not call disturbance, or if there's a fine or whatever, you can close down that company. It's dissolvable, it's insolvent, you got no problems. If you have it with your other company that maybe has a rental or does transactions or does wholesales, that's a big problem and that's a huge liability. So my best piece of advice, set up a shell company, file for an EIN, do the A2P form and all that stuff, and get cleared.
Shell company. I have a Delaware LLC. I know Will likes Wyoming.
Yes.
You're not going to open a Florida corp for your shell company. And another thing that I would do, man, try out different texting platforms right now. I know it's getting hairy. Batch leads is usually, I was using batch leads before, then I switched to Roar, then I switched to some guys in Colombia. The problem about that is they all have their advantages and disadvantages. Texting is getting tricky. You got to try it out. You got to hop around. And I would also open multiple accounts if I can with the same platform. If you have a platform you like, don't just open one account. Open multiple accounts so that if one gets shut down, you're still operating elsewhere. And then make sure you're using you're avoiding the trigger words in your text messages. Because if you're using trigger words, you're going to get blocked very quickly. That is not legal advice. Don't use offer. Don't use home.
Cash.
Don't use cash. Yeah, there's certain trigger words. I'm sure you can look them up.
Investor. There's a huge list of them. And as a matter of fact, I would email. Actually, I used Chat GPT for this, which was amazing. And the AI did all the filtering for them, and it removes the tokens. So, but there, you can email all these texting platforms or get on a free little consultation call with them and be like, hey, can you give me like a list of words that you know are blocked by carriers? It's great. Just remove all of those.
Yep. Solomon, comp properties here.
We can, Solomon.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can share a screen.
Do you have one that you want to comp, Solomon?
Drop it in the. We're gonna move on to the next question, but drop it on and we'll share the comment. So, Erin, Henry, I took your advice last time, started text blasting, and got blocked on the SMS campaign on batch. In 3 days.
That's a lot of text.
Yeah. That's good. 3,200 in 3 or 4 days is doing calls on the dialer. So, batch, I would look at your text messages. You probably used a lot of the trigger words. If you didn't know about that and you got blocked in just 3 or 4 days, you were definitely using like cash, offer, investor, like all the words in the text messages. So I would definitely take a look at that. Try to hop on a free consultation with Batch, and they should be able to, like, they just cool down your account. They're going to reinstate your account in like 2 or 3 days, I'm sure. But get on a call with support. I was just at the Batch headquarters in Phoenix because I was traveling over there and I went to their headquarters. Pretty badass. Right. Those guys are super helpful, super nice people. I met the owner. Just talk to them and be like, hey, listen, this is a great learning lesson. Just say, hey, look, I would like to get on a call with you. Just schedule like a 30-minute call with them or whatever. You say, look, I want to understand, why did I get blocked? What happened? So he says he did the research for the trigger words. So I would hop on a call with Batch, man. And if not, try out another platform,
Go to Launch Control.
Having multiple accounts is good. Yeah. Launch Control, Roar, Twilio. There's a lot.
Smarter Contacts, another one.
Yeah, I mean, texting is just, I've hopped around for 4 different platforms this year. So.
It's getting hammered, right, guys? This always happens where, like, I've seen it over the last 6 years. They get hammered, and then they figure out some little thing, and then it speeds back up again, and then deliverability goes up, the deal count goes up, the lead count goes up. They always figure out some little filter, and then boom, they go, because these guys aren't going to lose money. They have third-party companies like Twilio and Plivo. It's Twilio that blocked me because 2 numbers out of the whole thing flagged me as spam. So here's the problem with these little third-party companies, okay? And this is the thing that they don't tell you. A lot of the times when you have those numbers, right, that they assign to you, a lot of those numbers are recycled numbers. So they grab numbers that have already been flagged as spam, and you don't even know it. So I think Henry has, what's that platform that you scrub your numbers against?
I'm drawing a blank, bro. 1 second. Caller ID Reputation.
There you go. So run your numbers up against that and make sure that you're buying your numbers from there. And always rotate your numbers. I would rotate my numbers at least once a week, bare minimum.
Yeah.
And it depends. Just track how many texts you're sending per number. So if you're sending about 100 a day per number, shouldn't be a big deal. But if you start sending 1,000 per number, you're going to have a problem.
Yeah, maybe you didn't have enough phone numbers. That could be it. Best phone numbers are caller ID Reputation. I love those guys. They're not the most efficient support that I've ever had in my life, but the numbers are good and they've made a huge difference. I'm a huge cold call guy. So I take very good care of my numbers, and that's the uphill battle that I'm always dealing with. Caller ID reputation has really helped me out. Another one is Signal Mash, to buy numbers from there as well. So.
Yep. How reliable is the prop stream data, comp, seller info, skip tracing to use as the only source for data? Okay, so comps is pretty solid. Seller info is pretty solid. Skip tracing, don't
Terrible.
really have. Yeah, I haven't really had great experiences. I've said this before on a lot of videos. Cheap data that's really easy to access is usually equates to shit data. It's what it is, right? So anytime that I can pay a little bit more, I'm willing to do it because it's already more difficult for people to get and it's less accessible, if that makes sense. So PropStream is a tool to kind of, to kind of see some markets. I use it here and there for like tertiary markets that I'm not really into. I do like batch leads. I actually like batch very much. It's got a great comp tool. It's connected to all MLSs around the country. Real Flow is another one that my buddy Don Fowler owns. They're incredible. I love their data, and we'll be talking. We have a partnership coming up here, but we'll be talking a lot more about Real Flow. There's a lot of people not using it. They have predictive data too, very very cheap. Cheap. So I like Real Flow right now.
It's very good data. I just started calling a list, and it's incredible. I'm calling a probate list, and the leads are coming in hot, bro. Which is weird for leads to cold call leads.
It's not weird because you know what? I know Don personally, who's one of the owners of the company. The guy's a brain, number one. Number two, he's the head engineer of Intel for years. And dude, they got some good shit going on over there. Plus, they have like 300,000 clients in different businesses, so they're definitely really really good. Yeah, I think Solomon just sent me a WhatsApp.
And as far as skip tracing goes, the best skip tracing, well, you got to buy in bulk, and you have to sign these contracts and whatever. I offer skip tracing. Reach out to me, and I'll get you skip tracing that otherwise the only way you could get it is if you sign like a $20K a year contract and you pay it all up front, whatever. Reach out to me. We are working on a white label product that I hope we have ready sooner than later. But yeah.
Solomon texted me this address. If you want to go to the next question, let me see.
I can share a screen.
All right. So I'm going to just text it to you.
Is it in Miami?
So no, it's in West Palm.
All right.
Solomon, did you say that they want $500K for each duplex? 500 each. Because that sounds extremely high. Did you get it?
Yeah, I just got it.
While you're doing that, just go ahead and go to the next one, and I'll.
So Erin, going back to Erin, he says he was using four numbers to call 250 texts per day. I mean,
in my opinion, that's really low.
Yeah, I would have used 10 numbers or 8 numbers.
The more numbers you can get, trust me, it's going to be worth it. You pay like $1 per number. It's worth it. It's worth it. It's not worth it to get spammed like that.
All right, so let's run. Were
you able to pull it up there?
Yeah. You guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so I'm on the MLS, and we're gonna run this one right here, which is. Is this it? It's a duplex?
Yeah, there's two of them. There's 427 and 428. I guess they're separate duplexes.
All right. So I'm going to run the MLS. Well, I know everyone runs their comps a little bit differently. So stop me and maybe I learned something. All
Oh man.
right.
Give me
So
give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Hold on.
yeah. So guys, I'm gonna pull up duplex comps, right? I'm gonna look at multifamily only. I'm gonna see duplexes and then triplexes just in case. So I have a little bit more properties to look at. You ideally want to look at half a mile radius. You're going to want to see what's active on the market, what's active with contract, what's pending, and what has been closed in the last 180 days. That's what the appraiser is going to take into account, right? Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to check the map. I'm going to make sure there isn't anything crossing like a major intersection. So this is US 1. If you're east of US 1, it is a significantly better area in most cases. I'm not extremely familiar with this area of West Palm Beach in particular, but I bet this one sold for 1.275 and this active is at 650. It's half the price just because it's on the other side of US 1. So I would definitely not take this one into consideration as a comp. So a couple things here. Let's see. This one right here at 540. The blue are the closed. Solomon, can you give me some more details on these on this duplex, man? What is it? 2-1 on each side? Is it rent? What's it rented for? Things like that. So this duplex looks very nice. This is amazing opportunity. Okay, so it's a 3-bedroom house plus a guest house. It's not necessarily a duplex. Sold for 540. All right, let me see. Here's El Prado. This is right next to the subject property, and they're asking 504 for it. It hasn't sold. So you want to kind of compare it to this. If your guys are asking you 535 per duplex, and this one is sitting on the market at 504, that's your first red flag.
Also, another red flag. This is not a duplex, not a legal duplex anyway.
It's a single family.
Yeah, if I have the right, so it's 427 El Prado in West Palm.
Yeah, here I have 427 El Prado. It is a single family home, 1,100 square feet. There's an old listing here. This is what it looks like. Man,
this is very expensive.
Yeah, this is a framer, not very good condition. No way this is worth 500K.
No shot.
The one next to it is 425. Is that the one 427 and 425? Will?
No, I think it's 428 is what he said. Hold on.
All right, I got 427.
Yeah, it's 427 and 428.
So it's the one across the street. Here we go. Number 28, El Prado. This is a multifamily, 1,700 square feet. It's also a framer.
Framer.
Yeah, I don't like frame, bro.
Yeah, I mean West Palm's a little bit different, but yeah, no, I would not be interested in these at all.
Yeah, 500 is definitely too much.
It's way rich.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Plus, with multifamily or even, small multifamily like a duplex or triplex, any rental, you try to stick to the 1% rule. Right now, you want even a little bit more, like a 1.5% rule, meaning 1% per month. So if I'm buying something at 500K, I expect it to be producing somewhere around $4,500 to $5,000 a month. That's a good rule of thumb. It's not a science, but it is a good rule of thumb. So I highly doubt that these things are producing that much.
No. Here's check this one out. This is it went pending after 110 days on the market. So they shaved something off of the top of this price. This is actually a triplex. 500
and it's CBS. Yeah.
Yeah, and it has the unlock borders in the back. I mean, it's not necessarily great condition, but it's a better asset. I don't think 500 is anywhere near ballpark on it. So
I'd probably be in the 300s.
325 would be my offer, more or less.
Right.
Yeah.
What else do we have?
I will start there. Well, Ewan says he's checking real flow, and hey, we had a lot of questions and back to back to back. I think that flows well. We're already at the 40-minute mark, so I love that. If we have any more questions, you could drop them in the chat. Meanwhile, I'm going to remind everybody on this call, make sure you like our video, subscribe to our page, and click the notify me button so you guys get notifications automatically when we go live every Tuesday at 6 p.m.
Yes.
Thank you guys for joining. As always, Will and I do this just to grow the crowd. So make sure you bring somebody next time, share it with somebody, tell somebody about us, bring questions, and we're here to provide as much as we can.
And the next live event is going to be in February, but we do not have a date yet, but it will probably be late February, but it will definitely be in February. We're going to do another live event, and it's going to be better, and it's going to be bigger, and Henry's going to have a nicer shirt, and we're going to, we're going to kill it.
What's wrong with my fishing shirt?
Your shirt was nice. Your shirt was nice. You guys mentioned something about mentorship. Yes. So Henry and I are doing, we're rolling out we have rolled out a mentorship program, coaching, whatever you want to call it. If you're interested, just DM either one of us or, just DM one of us or go on Henry can send you the link to set up a little consulting call for about 15 minutes and just talk about what it is that you're looking for.
This mentorship is very, very one-on-one. It's not, here's a portal with a bunch of videos, go learn by yourself. So that's on this one-on-one call. We'll talk about what it is that you need specifically in your business, how we can provide value, and then you can get more to know what we got going on. So make sure you guys DM us if you want more information.
And it's actually Henry and I, not some coach that we hired to teach on our behalf. So, yeah.
Yes. It won't be Will and I forever, though. So
it won't.
take advantage of it. All right, Kieran, this is the last question we're going to take, and we're going to wrap it up.
What's the best leads to pull and cold call? Something that gives you a deal no matter what. Aaron, there is no such thing. Sorry to break your heart. There is no such thing as giving you a deal no matter what. However, consistency on
will get you a deal no matter what. There you go.
That's gonna get you a deal no matter what. It's my buzzer. I got it. But yeah, so look, non-owner occupied, out of state with some equity is probably where I want to focus on.
Yeah.
Some tired landlords. That's a great place to start, especially if you're a one-man band. Enough time with anything is going to produce deals. So yes, that's the best answer. The only thing that's going to give you a deal no matter what is you waking up every day and putting in the effort.
Yep, that's it. And I know you're putting it in here, and so stay at it. Vacant, high equity, and then sprinkle something on it, man. There's no magic list, but a foreclosure, a probate, whatever. And guess what, guys? Everyone is marketing to the same data. You just have to be more persistent, and get to them at the right time.
That's why
buy shit data, though.
That's why I say consistency, and I always preach this shit. And I was just on Steve Trang's podcast, and he asked me, what do I attribute to my success after 6 years? And I said, Steve, it's consistency, as you know, because he's very successful himself. And I'm like, dude, it's consistency. I've shown up every day for the last 6+ years, every day. And I put forth my best effort even on the days that I hated it, even on the days that I was flat broke, et cetera, especially on those days. So consistency is by far the only thing that's going to guarantee you results. It might not be today, but it's going to guarantee you results.
Correct. Aaron?
It's a little hard for Aaron. Right there.
All right, guys.
Thank
you very much. Another successful call. I really, really appreciate you guys hopping on.
And Henry's having a baby tomorrow, dude.
Yes. Yeah. Well, my wife's having a baby. I'm going to...
Henry's not going to have the baby, but his wife's going to have the baby. But they're both going to have a baby.
Yes. Very excited about that. So...
congratulations, dude.
Thank you, man. Super excited. Soon the
back. You're going to name him Will, right? You're going to name him William.
No.
Sir William III.
Bro. All right, guys. Take care.
Take care, guys.